Hey, good morning. I'm Patricia Murphy. It's Thursday. This is Seattle Now. The SODO neighborhood is gearing up for the World Cup.
We're Sounders season ticket holders. We're really into English Premier football. We're excited for the World Cup.
Sure, good vibes, but also the monumental challenge of hosting an estimated 750,000 visitors.
I don't think you'll ever be prepared for a World Cup. And I don't think that a lot of people understand the magnitude that the World Cup has on the entire world.
In a minute, we'll learn more about how SODO businesses are getting ready for the summer's World Cup crowds. But first, let's get you caught up. Seattle City Council member Rob Saka is calling for an audit of the Vision Zero program. That's the city's effort to end traffic deaths and serious injuries by 2030. Saka says Seattle is trending in the right direction, but it's still falling short of the city's stated goals. The council's getting an update on traffic safety in 2025 and an overview of future Vision Zero projects at 9:30 this morning. Pickleball or tennis? That is the question. The city of Seattle wants your feedback on how it should divvy up courts. A draft proposal from the Parks Department recommends no longer using a single court for both sports, but instead having some city courts for tennis and others for pickleball. An online survey opened today where you can weigh in on the city's racket sports plan. And there's a series of virtual and in-person meetings that begin next week. And the weather's been a little crummy this week, but how about this? Tonight is the first 8 p.m. sunset of the year. Things only go up from there. The National Weather Service says it'll be mostly sunny today, and the rain should mostly stay away for the foreseeable future. We're back with more headlines on tonight's episode of Seattle Now. We are less than 2 months out from the FIFA Men's World Cup coming to Seattle, and economic projections are down from original estimates. The U.S. war on Iran has lowered expectations for international visitors. Visit Seattle estimates that means about 10% less money for the local economy. Still, even with fewer visitors, this is going to be a very big deal, with traffic and crowds all around the city, but particularly in the neighborhoods closest to Lumen Field, Pioneer Square, the CID, and SODO. Lauren Lundberg is SODO's World Cup liaison. She's just one of the people in charge of helping prepare businesses and smooth the visitor experience. We met up at the SODO Business Improvement Area offices. Lauren, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
You're doing some things to help visitors find businesses in SODO. What are you doing?
So we have a couple things. The CWIN app, which is the local organizing committee, created that, and it's kind of the way that they're explaining it is as like a Pokemon Go. And so they've kind of really set it up. We provided them with about 10 businesses in SODO, and it created a SODO route, and that you would go navigate SODO, go to these businesses, and you check in and you play a little game. And you can get points, and those points can win you prizes, even win you tickets to games, things like that. And then the businesses do what they can to then get people to come inside. And so that can look like different deals and things like that. But we're really excited to see how people use that and navigate the SODO district. We also, working with the local organizing committee, are opening a SODO welcome center where visitors can come in, get information, directions, things like that, but also be a spot in SODO because we don't really have that spot where you can ask questions.
Tell me about the World Cup Neighborhood Liaison Program. What is it? How does it work?
For almost a year now, we've been working really closely with the local organizing committee. We will be the main go-to for our SODO businesses when they're having good problems, bad problems, whatever that might be. And so we can be a reliable source to help them navigate this nearly 750,000 or so people we're about to see in our city.
Let's help listeners understand who your neighbors are here, who we're talking about, and what their concerns are.
Yeah, we have our First Avenue South area, which has your breweries, wineries, restaurants, things like that, that want to benefit from this. They want to get people coming down here, and I think they will. I don't think that's going to be an issue. There's going to be so many people looking for places to go. But then you get further south or further on 4th Avenue, 6th, Airport Way, where people are just worried about how they're going to get to their office and then how they're going to get there, whether they're a logistics company who has to get their goods out. And that's right near the stadium is also where the I-90, I-5 intersection is. And that's where a lot of our businesses use to get things to Eastern Washington and even further. And how will they be able to continue that when there's going to be so much traffic and other people?
What are you hearing from businesses about their concerns beyond what we already discussed?
Getting their employees down here, being able to access their buildings. We have a lot of loading docks, and so like if people are parking all over the place, are loading docks going to be blocked? That who do they call when they have an issue?
One of the businesses in SODO thinking through the logistics of World Cup traffic, Paratex Pest Control. It sits right on 4th Avenue next to the railroad tracks and the fire station. Less than 1% of their business is on location. Paratex service techs need to travel to their clientele, which has owner Jen Osborne concerned.
So the concern is, how do my employees get in and out? They need to get product, they need to check in the office. And then a bigger concern is that we have customers throughout Western Washington, but a very high dense number of them in the Pioneer Square and SODO Stadium area district.
She's already thinking about how to move appointments and logistics around to avoid match day crowds. She's canceling meetings in June and figuring out how to keep products and employees outside of SODO. And while Paratex isn't looking to attract walk-up business during the game, there are opportunities to capitalize on.
I have taken out a billboard right down the street to bring awareness of one particular pest in general, and that is, I know it's gross, sorry, bed bugs. So we do want everyone to be thinking about bed bugs with travel.
Overall, she expects interruptions, but not a loss of business. I would imagine for your restaurants and breweries, it's a problem of a different sort that they may run into. What are you hearing from them?
They're navigating the watch party aspect of these games. I mean, there's a lot of confusion of, do you have to purchase a license or not? And so like navigating what that system is, and I don't think it's been the most clear from FIFA or from like just generally how do you put the games on
exactly
the screen? Yeah,
sure.
And so I think that's a lot of questions for people. I mean obviously a huge one is public restrooms.
That's a big one.
That's going to be, I mean, you're going to have, we do not have many public restrooms around the stadiums, around downtown. And I know that the city and some of the neighborhoods are working on that, but how are we set up to really serve people in that way with so many people? But then also, like our more southern breweries, things like that, how do they get people to their door, and then how do they get them inside is also the big focus.
Yeah. How will people know what to do? They'll come for a game, and then what do they know after that?
Yeah, and like where do you go? And a lot of the games, as opposed to a Seahawks game, we're really used to Seahawks games. They're on a Sunday. A lot of our businesses are closed on Sunday, so you don't see the same impact. All of the games are during the week. A lot of them starting at noon, so it's middle of the workday kind of thing. And so how do people adjust for that expectation?
Yeah, how are you helping them?
I think we're helping people figure out where road closures are, what the public transit's going to look like, but also how do they, again, we're just like that troubleshooter, I want to say, like if you have an issue, and this is how we kind of operate as a organization anyway, if you have a problem, call us. We're going to try to solve it or find the people who can solve it. And so I think us really setting ourselves up as that reliable source is going to be hopefully helpful in this period.
A lot of non-English speakers probably going to be coming to town as well.
Yeah, and so I think that's also connecting people to translation services, what kind of translation that looks like, how do you make your business accessible? And so a bunch of other organizations have been doing a lot of work to really build up that inclusivity kind of aspect, and I think we're really guiding people towards those services. That's not our expertise, but helping people find the place for those answers.
You know, I would imagine that for a local business, it's a little bit of a blessing and a curse.
Exactly. I think so. I think that it's the balance of like, you really want to use this opportunity, but then there's so much uncertainty, and can be a bit of a headache too as well. And so like, how do you balance that complexity of this giant event?
Ghostfish Brewing, an all-age gluten-free tap room, is concerned about how they're going to keep old patrons while drawing in the new around a major street closure. First Avenue will be shut down just south of them, which will make coming down from the north less ideal. While eastbound access from the West Seattle Bridge will stay open, they're worried it'll discourage people from coming in. But marketing coordinator Heather Banchieri says they're preparing to welcome the crowds.
So we're already kind of tapped into that soccer mindset, and so this is a way to expand that literally on a global scale.
They're going all in, collaborating with neighboring businesses, planning special menus and beers with game tie-ins, and figuring out how to host more people during games.
While that can feel overwhelming, like on an operational level, Ghostfish, like we sort of created a mini committee where we meet to talk about what do we need to do. So we're expanding our tap room space to include more seating. We're exploring the idea of a Ghostfish food truck for more food offerings to host large-scale watch parties of the games, increasing our taproom hours to host those watch parties.
Heather says the SODO BIA has been very helpful in setting expectations. She isn't expecting miracles, but she is leaning in.
However much a local business wants to engage or detach, it's sort of a choose-your-own adventure. And Ghostfish is definitely all in on the adventure of soccer and the World Cup, and we're ready for it.
I would imagine that there are some businesses who are like, man, I just want to close up shop and I will see you at the end of all of this.
I'm sure there will be a couple who are fortunate to be able to do that, but we just don't have a lot of businesses that can do that, that have that option. SODO is your spot where your food comes from, where all your packages come from, and the idea that could stop for this 4 or 6 week period is not going to happen.
Western Neon can't close for 6 weeks, but owner Andre Lucero plans to treat game days like holidays and give employees time off. Like Paratex, they aren't expecting to convert World Cup visitors into customers, but have been asking the local organizing committee where they could help out for almost a year and a half. The answer is signage. Western Neon is creating 500 poster-sized signs in the shape of a whale fluke, constructed from tubes of neon curved into the shape of a whale's tail. They'll act as a sort of welcome sign that businesses can display as a signal that they're open and eager for World Cup visitors.
We're hoping we get through this project, and then we'll start thinking about traffic. And then we'll start thinking about all the fans and where staff is going to park.
It's a big job for Western Neon, and right now, a bit of a scramble, but it's all good. For Andre, it's all for the love of the game.
For me, it's a little bit personal. My very first World Cup match was in '94 in Dallas, and that was a really eye-opening experience for me as a youth soccer player.
All right, last question. Just a general sense, are businesses more excited or are they worried?
I think they're more excited. People, I think they're excited to be part of it and have been, when we've had opportunities for them to engage on it, no, I don't think anyone's ever said no.
Yeah. All right, Lauren Lundberg, Deputy Director of SODO Business Improvement Area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you listening to Seattle Now, and thanks to our generous donors for your support. Take a moment to rate and review the show. Today's episode was produced by Brooklyn Jamerson Flowers. It was edited by Caroline Chamberlain Gomez. Our production team also includes Andy Hurst, Vaughn Jones, and Paige Browning. Greg Kramer does our theme music. Seattle Now and KUOW Public Radio are members of the NPR network. I'm Patricia Murphy. Talk to you tonight for Evening Headlines.